Hello YouTube watch lovers, and today I finally have the time to introduce the Smiths Everest PRS-25 watch, which I really enjoyed on my wrist, and I really like the fact that the Smiths brand logo has a connection to the Rolex Explorer, to the Rolex Explorer watches through that original expedition that mounted Mount Everest. And I obviously will be talking about this in my review today. So today the watches by the Smiths brand are produced not by the actual original brand, but by the Timefactors mini brand, which is run in Sheffield, United Kingdom by Edward Platts. So I will be referencing the Timefactors many times today, because it was the actual Timefactors idea to get the Smiths brand logo, the Everest model logo, and do this homage to the 1016 Explorer 1, and I will do the history review. But first of all, any good idea coming from the micro brands, these watches are, well, they're well designed, they're well proportioned, they're well done and well executed. I think this watch was very enjoyable on my wrist, and I had it for the last month. So they're unavailable from the actual Timefactors website, they're all sold out. So I found this watch on eBay. And why did I look for this watch in May 2022? Well, probably my interest was promoted by the video on Watchfinder, and I will reference this on my screen now. I think it was a very witty kind of selection of watch alternatives to the new releases of 2022. And for example, the Smiths Everest watch was proposed as an alternative to the Tudor Black Bay Pro, just because this watch has a good relevance to the Rolex Explorer. So Explorer 2 Tudor watch came round through this connection, but I like the fact that Watchfinders were talking about this watch, and also to show you the relevance of the Smiths logo, the Smiths watches to the watch community. I will also reference this review by Max from Watch Crunch. He reviews a more upscale aventurine dialed Smiths Everest watch, a very good review, very loving review, but also shows the importance of the Smiths watches for the watch community today. So at first I want to do the unboxing of the watch when I first received my order from eBay. Just to quickly mention to you, the brand values this Everest PRS-25 watch at £325, but as it's all sold out, you can only get these watches from Chrono24, well overpriced, and even the eBay auctions, well, you have to pay in excess of £325 for the owners to sell their watches. So I paid 400 British pounds, but I want to convince you that the experience with the watch was very good, and I want to keep this watch. Well, maybe unless I will go for the actual Explorer 1016, but this is a minefield, buying a vintage Rolex watch. So let us start with the unboxing, and then I'll move on to the history of the Smiths watch. So, part 2, unboxing of the watch. So we're on with the unboxing. I bought this from eBay and it arrived today. I put in my order on Monday, and now it's Wednesday the 12th 12th of May. So this should contain the Timefactors, the Smiths Everest PRS-25 watch. So it's nicely packed. I just don't want to, well, it's nicely taped over the address, so I really don't want to be advertising my home address here. So I am pretty happy with my final few orders from eBay. The watches arrived in perfect condition, but there's always some wondering factor whether the watch is in there or not. So I will quickly undo this wrapping. It's pretty well wrapped. Don't want to show my home address, but want to do this so it's not too untidy, but really want to see what's inside this package. So it should have all the original Smiths wrapping the watch case. So it's a full package, pretty much like you will get everything with the new watch. Probably it wouldn't be so well wrapped. By the way, what I'm wearing, it is my Saint Martin 37mm 1016 homage. I am falling in love with the Rolex 1016 through these homage watches. I don't know. I don't want to go into buying a vintage Rolex. I kind of prefer, I have the new 39mm Explorer, and these are my attempts to look into the 1016 and get the impression of how well the 36mm watch. So this is slightly bigger Saint Martin, this is 37mm, and the watch is just great. It's an extremely good experience, and a part of me is already thinking maybe I should go for the 1016, but buying a vintage Rolex is a big deal. So many Franken watches, so many possible incorporation of different movements, different parts, and the authenticity of a 50-year-old Rolex. You need to know what you're dealing with. I wouldn't recommend anyone to go directly into ordering a 1016 Explorer because they're vintage watches. I prefer to have the one with the new PT 5000, or this one should have a Miyota 9026, the time only, no date version of the Miyota 9000 series movement. So probably not as good as the 3230 in the new Rolex 36mm Explorers. So here is the box finally, not the cleanest, not the best job I ever done of the unboxing. So I think this could be the original. So Timefactors is the micro brand that is now releasing the Smiths watches, and a nice carry case, and we shall see what's inside of the carry case. So here is the watch, another Timefactors. This is a polishing cloth for the watch, and here is the watch. So a 36 millimeter beautiful 1016 Explorer homage, and the watch is in here. Well, let us try winding it up. Have to unscrew. Second hand is already moving, but I moved the watch around, so it did wind up the movement slightly. So crunchy, you can feel the movement winding up. So the bracelet is, well, the condition of the watch is pretty new. Just want to put it on my wrist. I wonder how well this compares to my Saint Martin. So this is the Smiths. This is the 37 millimeter. You can notice that the Saint Martin is slightly bigger. So Saint Martin definitely developed their watch. The Smiths is different, and I will probably mention in my main video that this is the one watch which most watch collectors respect, and one homage of the 1016 Rolex Explorer, which is liked by everyone. So on the wrist, I obviously need to size this bracelet for my wrist, but on the wrist the watch looks fine. So I need to acknowledge that I received the watch with eBay. Yes, it is the Smiths. So I will try to make as close up shot of the dial as I can possibly get. So Smiths Everest PRS-25 watch, fairly thin. I will give all the measurements, and I need to take off these wrappers, size the bracelet, and I will do a full review of this watch and full review of the experience. Can compare two homages of the 1016 Explorer side by side. I'm really liking my experience with the Saint Martin. Really have no problems. Really like this watch. And now I'm gonna have a look at the Smiths Everest. Quite like the way they put Everest on the dial of this watch. Now it should be a good experience. Need to acknowledge receiving the watch, and that everything is in there, and the package, the full details. This is the Timefactors, so this is the last page is the warranty, the date that this has been acquired. So 2020. So it's a pre-owned, but the watch is in good condition. The watch is in good condition, and I'll gladly wear it for a couple of days and report the whole thing, the review of the watch. I will use all these famous Everest expedition photographs and everything in one video about this watch that really has a good connection to the Rolex Explorer, and the Smiths was the second watch to be the first one on the summit of the famous world peak. Okay, so this is as far as the unboxing goes. Nice watch. Just need to remove the wrappers sized bracelet and enjoy wearing it. Here it is. So in the part 3 of this video, I really want to show the historical connection of the Smiths watches and Rolex to this first expedition to the Himalayas by Sir Edmund Hillary and his Sherpa assistant Tenzing Norgay, and it's a real pleasure to be using these timeless photographs in my video production. So this was the first ascension to the top of the Mount Everest, and the first 2 watches to feature on the top of Mount Everest were the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. So here is the photograph of exactly the same model as was produced by Rolex in 1953. And here is the Smiths watch that most likely made to the top of the mountain Everest on this slide. So we know how well Rolex advertised their connection to this particular expedition in advertising the Rolex Explorer, and this is definitely the Rolex 1016 Explorer. This is another timeless advert from the newspapers of the age. Well, you can see that Smiths advertised their watch also in the connection to the same expedition, but I think that today the connection of Smiths to this homage of the 1016 Rolex is really rightful. It really comes from the same expedition that made the Rolex Explorer so popular. So as you see, I have adjusted the bracelet. It feels very nice on my wrist. I'm actually liking the 36mm watch with this 1016 type Explorer dial. I have quite handily my 39mm Rolex Explorer 1, the 214-270 watch, which I bought in 2020, in November 2020, and there is a video of me actually buying this watch from a Rolex AD on my channel. You can check it out. So you can see that they applied hour markers, applied 369 numerals, look better on a 39mm watch. Well, it is generally a bigger watch than the 36mm 1016 reproduction. But I think the fact that I have the 39mm Rolex watch, it kind of excuses looking for a 36mm Explorer homage in this case. Also, it's a real minefield buying a vintage Rolex. Real minefield to make sure that all the parts are authentic and you don't get one of these watches containing all different parts and not necessarily the original part. So the watch has a case of 36mm in diameter, so the lug to lug distance is 43.5mm. You see, it sits very, very comfortable. Also, these female end links of this bracelet make it a perfect fit for my 18cm circumference wrist. And the watch is very thin. It's only 11.2mm the case width. The bracelet goes from 20mm between the lugs to 16mm, 16.5mm at the clasp, and the clasp is actually 18.5mm. So everything is nice. This is a riveted oyster bracelet, which is very vintage, very much like the one that has been put on the original 1016 Explorers. So the movement of this watch is the Miyota 9039. So this is a very good, very well. I think this really works well with this watch, because it only about 2 seconds per day of the perfect timekeeping, so it really satisfies me. This is a 24 dual automatic 2 days power reserve movement, which is just fantastic in this watch. So I'm glad that I could do this history review, this historical connection of this Everest watch to the Rolex Explorer. I enjoy the fact that I have a 39mm Explorer. I enjoy wearing it. So in the summary to this video, if you like what you've seen, if you like my comparison of the watches, and most importantly the introduction of the Smiths Everest PRS-25 watch, which I'm definitely keeping for my watch collection, please like this video and please subscribe to my channel, and we'll get into more watch adventures in the close future. Bye.